Okay, here we go. Wait. Did you hear that? What's that noise? The fuck was that? Welcome back to 40 Frames Ago, the show where I rewind the clock exactly 40 years to revisit the movies that filled theaters, shaped pop culture, and sometimes try to fly higher than they really could. Hey everyone, I'm Jim, and welcome to 40 Frames Ago. Last week we took a deep dive into Black Moon Rising, and now we're strapping in for Iron Eagle. Released in January of 1986, it hit theaters just months before Top Gun would redefine the fighter jet genre. And while Iron Eagle didn't quite reach those same heights, it built a loyal cult following with its teenage wish fulfillment plot, military action, and a soundtrack that absolutely screams 1986. Here's how this video will work. Each week we revisit what's happening at the box office exactly 40 years ago to this very day. Spotlight one film from that week and break it all down. Cast, crew, soundtrack, and even the physical release. Then I'll wrap things up with my thoughts after revisiting it. So buckle up, because this week's pick is loaded with fighter jets, underdog spirit, and pure mid-80s adrenaline. Let's rewind to the third week of 1986. Here we are. We're in the week of January 17th through the 23rd of 1986. And the marquee outside the theater pretty much tells the story. The Color Purple, Out of Africa, and Rocky IV are still holding strong at the top. Those three are basically glued to the leaderboard at this point. But we do have three newcomers cracking the top. Iron Eagle, Troll, and Runaway Train. One's pure fighter jet wish fulfillment, another dives into a very different kind of fantasy, and the third is a gritty, runaway locomotive thriller. So picture yourself walking up to this theater back in 1986. What ticket are you buying? Prestige drama, high-octane action, or a straight-up creature feature? All right, let's head over to the computer and we'll dig into the box office breakdown for this week. Let's take a look at the box office. The Color Purple has officially climbed its way into the top spot this week. After 5 weeks of steadily rising, it finally lands at number 1, knocking the Jewel of the Nile all the way down to 4th place. The awards buzz is clearly kicking in, and honestly, the word of mouth on how good this movie isn't hurting it either. Now, as for new releases, we actually have quite a few this week. Iron Eagle comes out flying, literally, and pulls in about 8 million on its first week. Not bad at all. Troll also debuts with around 3.5 million. Releasing this week nationwide and coming out of limited release is Runaway Train. And then we've got a trio of animated kids films. Hey There, Yogi Bear, The Adventures of Mark Twain, and The Adventures of American Rabbit. I have no idea why Atlantic Releasing Corp has all three of these releasing at the same time, and only in about 250 theaters, but they did, and unsurprisingly, they didn't make much of a splash. Still, they managed to outperform The Boy in the Blue, a movie I never even heard of until now, despite the fact that it stars Nicolas Cage. I watched the trailer, and honestly, I almost picked it this week for the review. The real curiosity this week, though, is the Clan of the Cave Bear. This is the only moment it ever shows up on the box office charts, thanks to a lone New York theater pulling in about 25,000. Strangely enough, it managed about 1.9 million in Canada, but with a production budget of 15 million, there's no way around it. This one was a major financial flop. Out of all of these movies, I selected the number 1 new movie this week, Iron Eagle. So since we're focusing on Iron Eagle, let's go check out the poster. All right, let's check out this poster. Right away, you get that classic action vibe. The jets streaking across the sky, explosions lighting up the background, and Jason Gettrick front and center looking determined. Louis Gossett Jr. is right there too, bringing that instant sense of authority. The tagline leads into danger and high stakes, which is exactly what the movie's selling. The funny thing though is, the original poster uses this bright white lettering that blends right into the background, making it surprisingly hard to read at a glance. But even with that, the overall design gets the message across. This isn't just another teen drama. This is about flying fighter jets and saving the day. I couldn't find any information about the artist of this poster. It might have been just a studio project with a bunch of artists put together. But in any case, I wish I could credit the artist on this one, but I couldn't find the information. All right, let's head over to the hangar and take a look at the cast. You know what really gives Iron Eagle its identity? The pairing at the center of it. Jason Gettrick steps up as Doug Masters, and in the mid-'80s, he was right in that sweet spot of rising teen talent. The kind of actor studios were hoping could carry both drama and action. Before Iron Eagle, he popped up in films like The Heavenly Kid and Bad Boys. But this was his first real shot at leading a big, effects-driven action movie. Watching him here feels like catching a young actor right as Hollywood was testing his range. Earnest, energetic, and fully committed to the fantasy of a teenager taking on the world with a fighter jet and a mixtape. And then there's Louis Gossett Jr., who brings the film its real backbone. By the time he signed on for Iron Eagle, he had already made history as the first black actor to win an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for An Officer and a Gentleman. That win cemented him as a force, and here he channels that same authority and charisma into Colonel Chappie Sinclair. The mentor every 80s kid wished they had, Gossett has this way of grounding even the wildest plot turns, giving the movie a sense of weight it wouldn't have without him. He's the seasoned pro, the steady hand, the guy who makes you believe this whole mission might actually work. Together, Gettrick and Gossett give Iron Eagle its spark. One is an ambitious newcomer with something to prove, the other is a veteran with presence to spare. It's a snapshot of two careers at different stages. Gettrick stepping into the spotlight, Gossett already a decorated powerhouse shaping the film around him. And with leads like Gossett and Gettrick driving the story, it's worth taking a look at the creative forces behind the camera that built this world that we're flying through. Let's go check out the crew. You can't talk about Iron Eagle without looking at the creative duo who shaped it. Director Sidney Furie and screenwriter Kevin Elders. They're the ones who took this wild premise, a teenager stealing a fighter jet to rescue his dad, and turn it into a full-blown action fantasy. Sidney Furie is one of those filmmakers whose career is way more eclectic than people realize. Born in Toronto, he broke out in the 60s with The Icarus File, a stylish spy thriller that helped redefine the genre and proved he had a real eye for visual flair. Over the years, he bounced between dramas, thrillers, horror, and action, the kind of director who never stayed in one lane. By the time he landed Iron Eagle, Furie had already built a reputation for bold choices and a willingness to push genre boundaries. And you can see that here. The dramatic angles, the energetic pacing, the way he leans into fantasy of the teenager taking on the impossible. It's pure Furie, ambitious, earnest, and unapologetically big. And then there's Kevin Elders, the writer who dreamed up this whole thing. Iron Eagle was his breakout. He approached it with the mindset of someone who wanted to make movies that spoke directly to 80s teens, wished fulfillment, rebellion, and the idea that music and guts could get you through anything. Elders would go on to write all the sequels as well, becoming the narrative architect of the entire franchise. And later in his career, he stepped behind the camera to write and direct the movie Simon Says, the Dennis Rodman, Dane Cook action comedy that, well, let's just say it exists. Elders never really landed another hit after Iron Eagle, but there's something kind of charming about his career. Like, he kept swinging for the fences even though the bat wasn't quite connecting. Together, Furie and Elders gave Iron Eagle its unmistakable tone. Part military adventure, part teenage daydream, part rock and roll fantasy. One brings decades of filmmaking experience and stylistic flair, and the other brings youthful energy and a story built around pure 80s attitude. It's a collaboration that explains why the movie feels so unique. Grounded enough to take seriously, wild enough to feel like something only the 80s could produce. Alright, enough talking about the cast and crew. Let's go check out the trailer.
Doug Masters. He's 18 years old. Raised on an airbase.
That guy's voice.
Born to fly. living
Sounds
for
like
the
I'm
day
gonna smoke a
he'll
lot
earn
of cigarettes.
wings. Suddenly, just when life was going great,
Doug, it's your dad. He's been shot down.
This music is like real intense.
Davis, hey, it's okay.
It's not very fun
Colonel,
like
will you
it
please
kind of
just
is in the
tell me
movie.
what's going on?
Your country has been warned time and time again.
Because they claim a 200-mile limit. We only recognize 12. So when are they going in?
Reparation is our
I'm
due.
not digging
lie
this
to me.
background music.
In 3 days, they're gonna hang him.
when the Pentagon is helpless
We're doing all we can.
and Washington's hands are tied,
We make the laws in this country.
there's only one thing to do. And he'll do it with one of the toughest fighter pilots who ever lived, retired Colonel Chappie
He
Sinclair.
does have
You know, your
a
dad
nice presence to
understands
him.
a lot about people's dignity.
He really makes this
That's the
movie.
last kind of person in the world unless he
I'm not gonna
some
lie.
stinking
He really
keys.
does make this
Do you
movie.
think with the right plan, it'd be simple to go in and get him?
Probably.
What's going on?
Look, I'm telling you right now, I bet you can
I
get
mean,
a
all of
plane.
his friends are goofy and fun in real life. But
pilots, too?
this is
I've
making
got
him seem
3
super
times as many
serious.
hours on that simulator as most pilots flying Falcons on this base right now.
Don't test you out on some live targets.
He may know how to fly. Now he must learn how to fight.
Want to concentrate.
It's the most intense narration I've seen applied to a movie where the hero's battle plan is literally
Everyone
choreographed
told him
to
sit tight
Queen.
and wait.
Heat up from here on out.
For them, waiting
Comes the
time
music
is
finally.
Okay?
over. They're going in against the clock. In a pair of borrowed F-16s.
Chappie, I hit it.
Now just worry about the 3 megs that got up. Climb! Climb!
Academy Award winner Louis Gossett Jr., Jason Gedrick, Iron Eagle.
Man. I mean, that trailer was so dramatic. I mean, geez. It needs its own medal ceremony. Gosh. This movie, it's so much fun. And this trailer just, I don't think it does very good justice to this movie. So, all right, let's go check out. I'll give you my thoughts on the actual DVD release of this movie. Let's talk about home releases. Iron Eagle enjoyed a long run in VHS through the 80s before making a jump to DVD in the early 2000s. I've always wanted to own this title, and I was disappointed to find out that here in the US, it's still only available on DVD, which is super disappointed. After some digging, I discovered a Spanish Blu-ray release. Why the heck is it only in Spanish outside the US? I have no idea. I wish we could get a copy of it in 4K. It does have an English audio track and subtitles, so if you don't mind the Spanish titling and the Spanish artwork, then it's definitely worth an upgrade for the improved picture quality. The disc itself is completely bare bones though, no commentary, no behind the scenes features, just the movie. That's a bit of a letdown, especially since there's so many interesting scenes that could benefit from the insights from the cast and the crew. Hopefully we'll see a proper special release someday. This one does have a DTS HD track in English, which is great. If you're looking for extras, YouTube does have some options. I'll link some in the description below. There's one where a guy who's an ex-F-16 pilot, that's kind of hard to say, he reviews it. And then there's also one where a guy does an interesting look at how many weapons were fired by Doug Masters versus what the plane can actually carry. So I'll link those in the description below so you can check those out. All right, well, let's go ahead to the movie room and actually watch this movie. All right, I've got to be honest with you right up front. This is one of my absolute favorite movies when I was a kid. I'm pretty sure I watched my VHS copy so many times it started to give up on me. I haven't seen it since those days, so revisiting now is a full-on nostalgia blast. This thing is peak kid wish fulfillment. Doug Masters flying an F-16 to rescue his dad, that cool clubhouse that Doug and his friends hung out in, blowing stuff up with missiles and bombs, and that's exactly why this works. It's over the top in the most charming way, right at the beginning. In the beginning of this movie, I got hit with a memory I didn't expect, waiting for college acceptance letters in the mail. No emails, no portals, you're just staring out the window, hoping the mailman shows up early. It's pretty funny how a movie can just make you accidentally remind you of stuff like that. And then there's drive-in restaurants, the classic hangout spot for teenagers. It instantly made me think of the movie The Great Outdoors. There's just something about that era where every teen movie had a place like that. Talking about effects and scenes, the snake flying scene, still one of my favorite parts of this entire movie. The practical stunts are genuinely impressive. No CGI shortcuts, just real pilots doing wild stuff. You got the perfect 80s music blasting, goofy one-liners like, keep jamming to the tunes because you're zooming. And that awesome shot of a motorcycle and a Cessna side by side as they cross that finish line. They actually had to pull that stuff off for real, which makes it even cooler. And it cracks me up that someone commits like multiple felonies in this sequence. Sabotaging a plane, it's like attempted murder. And the movie treats it like, boys will be boys. Also, the last guy who tried the snake died. Did these same guys kill him? The movie just kind of moves right along. Something else that fascinates me is when two movies with the same basic idea come out at the same time. Hollywood calls these twin movies. And I always wondered how this happens. Do studios have secret spies or secret informants? Because Top Gun and Iron Eagle dropped the same year. Same thing happened with Ants and A Bug's Life or Volcano and Dante's Peak. It's just such a weird phenomenon. I don't know. Louis Gossett Jr. is still the rock of this movie. He brings so much warmth and authority that he gives the story that emotional weight that it probably earns. I mean, watching it now, the visuals are honestly better than I expected. The flying scenes hold up surprisingly well, and there's something I never knew, and something I never knew as a kid was that this was all filmed in Israel using their planes. The F-16s and Kafers, those are all Israel planes. The U.S. Department of Defense wanted nothing to do with this movie, probably because the plot involved stealing an American jet. Not exactly the kind of story the Pentagon likes to endorse. So the filmmakers went overseas to get this footage, and they succeeded greatly. You could still see the seams. I mean, the models look like models. They reuse the same shots a bunch of times. You know, the continuity is, let's say, flexible. Bombs on jets in one shot, gone in the next. Landing gear up, then down, then up again. It's all part of the charm. And then there's the soundtrack. Still incredible. Queen's One Vision kicks things off, and the whole movie rides that rock-heavy energy. Critics hated Iron Eagle back in 1986. But watching it now, it's got real 80s charm. It's cheesy, loud, and completely unrestrained in a very specific 80s way. As a kid, it made you believe you could hop into a jet and save the day. And honestly, it's still part of the fun. Flashback fact. Art Scholl, a stunt pilot, flew the Cessna 159 in the snake race in Iron Eagle. He unfortunately died a year later when filming that flat spin sequence for Top Gun. All right, before we land this thing, quick note. Episodes like this take a lot of digging and editing to put together. If you're enjoying these weekly missions back to 1986, hit like and subscribe. Chappie would definitely approve. All right, that's it for Iron Eagle. Next week, we're diving into Troll. And no, not the online kind. The rubber suit fairy tale gone wrong kind. Yep, the bizarre, creature-packed fantasy film that blends apartment complex chaos with magical mayhem and some of the strangest character choices the decade ever produced. It's weird and it's whimsical. So get ready, because week 4 is taking us from fighter jet heroics to fairy tale freakouts. Wheels down on our return to the third week of 1986 with Iron Eagle. Let me know in the comments, did you strap in for this one back then? Or are you just now joining the squadron? I'd love to hear your thoughts. And until next time, I'll see you in the rewind.